So, guys, it's finished. Arsenal 2, Nottingham Forest 1, first game of the season. And this is the first match reaction of the season. And what do we make of that game? Because that was a weird game for me. It was very, very comfortable for Arsenal, large parts of the game. I thought we moved the ball very, very well in the first half. A little bit slow, a little bit lethargic. Maybe we could have moved it a bit quicker, created a few more chances. But of course, um, started out with Eddie Nketiah's first goal. I thought Gabriel Martinelli was absolutely brilliant in the build up to that goal, no doubt. You know, taking on his man, a little bit of skill. Um, and the first real chance for Arsenal in that first half, to be honest with you, because if you remember rightly, going back to the beginning of the game, Nottingham Forest actually had the best opportunity, even though they didn't really have much possession of the ball. Brennan Johnson should have done a lot better with his finish. We was very, very lucky in that sense. But even though Arsenal had so much of the ball, we was actually really poor with the ball in that first half, I felt, up until the goal. And like I say, Gabriel Martinelli was instrumental in that first goal, taking on his man, a little bit of pace, a little bit of movement, and a little bit of skill as well to give it to Eddie Nketiah. And look, I'm not a big fan of Eddie Nketiah, but fair play to him. He got his goal and he took it very, very well. Maybe there's an argument there that Matt Turner maybe should have done a little bit better with it, but who cares? You know, 1-0 Arsenal. And I'm thinking, cool, we're going to go on, we're going to score 4, we're going to score 5, we're going to score 6 now, you know, because Nottingham Forest were literally, you know, from minute one, they set up to defend and hit on the counter. And the moment that it went 1-0, they had to open up, they had to come out a little bit more. Because their game plan had ultimately failed. You know, they came to the they came to the Emirates for a point. It's as simple as that. Um, but we didn't really see that. They tried to come out a little bit, but they didn't really have much of an outlet in the first half, and that was, in my mind, credit to Arsenal and the high line that we played. We didn't really have to press too hard either. It was just so easy to win the ball back from Nottingham Forest. But the second goal eventually came as well. Martin Odegaard, I thought, was very, very good in that 10 role today. Very instrumental in the midfield. But Bukayo Saka with an absolute screamer. And I don't care what anyone says. Nobody, no goalkeeper in world football is saving that. That was an absolute rocket into the side netting as well. So I don't see a goalkeeper in world football that could save that. So yeah, Bukayo Saka once again showing that he is top class, really, genuinely. You know, when it comes to stepping up in the big moments, this guy does it. You know, he really does. And so yeah, credit to him. You go in at half time, 2-0 up, comfortable. Yeah, very, very comfortable for Arsenal. And we come out in that second half, and I don't know what happened. I don't know why we came out and we were so complacent in that second half. I was expecting us to come out and score 3, 4, 5. Be ruthless, you know, be like Manchester City. Set down a statement. Show them that we're here to stay. You know, you ain't going to have no movement this season. You're not going to have any opportunity to, I don't know, drop points where you shouldn't drop points, because we are going to take full advantage wherever we can. And we're playing Nottingham Forest, who are dubbed to go as one of the teams to go down, and we're going to send you a statement. Basically, we had a rerun of Anfield last year when we was 2-0 up and drew 2-2. A rerun of the West Ham game last year when we was 2-0 up and drew 2-2. And a rerun of the Southampton game. And what I mean by that is not the result, but the complacency shown by these players and by the manager. And it's worrying because we're supposed to be competing for a league title. Yet we're at home and we have just conceded a goal against one of the worst teams in the league that came to the Emirates for a draw, that didn't want to play. And then the moment they throw on a player who's a little bit pacey, we all of a sudden are on the back foot. And towards the end, the last 15 minutes, Nottingham Forest were the better side. And I get it. It's game week 1. Yeah. We've just come out of pre-season. You know, it's game week 1. You don't expect there to be top performances like you're going to see later on in the season. Players are still getting their fitnesses back. There's new players within the squad that are still learning certain things, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. So you don't expect the greatest of performances ever. But it's Nottingham Forest. If you cannot score 3, 4, 5 goals against Nottingham Forest at home, just saying. And people will sit there and go, you're negative, you're negative. Guess what? Take a look at our bench today. Does anybody think that's title-winning bench? Does anybody think that's a Premier League competing, Champions League competing bench? There was one player that I looked at on that bench today that could come on and change the game, and that was Leandro Trossard. Apart from that, are any of them other players good enough? Probably not. And it's inevitable when you're playing more games and you have to play your strongest side 2 times a week that you're going to pick up more injuries. And in the first game of the season today, we have already picked up another injury to Jurrien Timber, arguably our best summer signing. Now, I know we got plenty of defensive cover. We got Tomiyasu, we got Gabriel, who didn't play today. You know, we've got defensive cover, but Tomiyasu is very injury prone himself. Zinchenko is one of the most injury prone players at Arsenal, and he is currently out injured. Now Jurrien Timber is out injured, and it looks like it's going to be a few weeks as well. Looks like a calf strain, by the way. All of a sudden, we've got an injury to Jesus, an injury to Zinchenko, and an injury to Timber. And if we pick up any more injuries, all of a sudden we're having to use these bench players that are not good enough. So I'd think very hard, Arsenal fans, before you start getting all giddy again, yeah, and start getting all this, oh, we're going to win the league, we're going to win the league, yeah. Nottingham Forest today, and we couldn't keep a clean sheet at home. We couldn't score more than 2 goals against Nottingham Forest today because of our own complacency. Now, I hope and I pray that this manager is getting into these players about the complacency, because it's the same complacency that cost us last season. We were lucky today that it didn't cost us in this game. And yeah, maybe I am taking it a little bit overboard, but I am furious about it, because you would have thought that the manager and the players would have learnt from this. So hopefully the next game we are more ruthless, because Manchester City, I am telling you now, if that was Manchester City playing today against Forest, who just wanted to sit back, defend, not do anything, not do any form of attacking, nothing, they would have slapped them 5, 6, 7. We have to be ruthless. We have to be ruthless. And look, it's a match reaction. So rather than doing an individual video on player ratings, I'm going to do my player ratings here. Aaron Ramsdale. Let's start with this guy. I can see why Arteta has decided to bring in David Raya, because he was very complacent at times again today. His kicking wasn't great. How many times is this guy going to get beat at the near post? Yeah. What what can I say? Should be keeping a clean sheet against Nottingham Forest. I don't care if it's a counter attack. I don't care if it's because of certain reasons or another, because we had Thomas Partey at the right back, whatever. You should be keeping a clean sheet against Nottingham Forest. I'm sorry, you should. So Ramsdale for me gets a 5. Urian Timber, 5. William Saliba, I mean, he was caught in no man's land when Forest had that opportunity in the first half. Apart from that, I thought he did okay, but again, he didn't really have much defending to do. So can you give him any more than a 5? Probably not. Thomas Partey. This guy has a tendency of getting complacent in the last 10 to 15 minutes of games. Because once again, I'm watching this guy jogging back when Elanga's going through on goal. Jogging back. Not good enough. He gets a 5 as well. Declan Rice, I thought he was actually very good today, by the way. And it looks like he's starting to understand what is required of him in this Arsenal team. He got forward very well as well. Had a couple of shots on goal. I'm going to give Declan Rice a 7. Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz. Apparently, it doesn't matter that we paid £65 million for him because he makes very good runs off the ball. Who gives a shit? This guy is here and he's been brought in as one of the players to change this Arsenal team into a title-winning side. I don't care how many runs he makes off the ball. What does he do in front of goal? And twice today, he was 1v1 with a defender running through on goal and he messed it up. This guy is not clinical. He gets a 5 as well. Martin Odegaard. For me, player of the match. I thought he ran the midfield very, very well. Some of the passes that he was making, some of the touches that he was taking as well. This guy has really grown over the last year or so at Arsenal, and he looked very, very good today. And he was instrumental in both goals. And we should have had more. We should have had more. So for me, Martin Odegaard, player of the match, I'm going to give him a 8.5, 8.5. Because I don't think anybody deserves to go above the 8.5 because we didn't really attack that great and we should have had more goals. And we didn't defend that great towards the end. So, it's a bit of a nothing game. It's hard to judge, really, when you've got a team that didn't want to play football, full stop, against you. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, Martin Odegaard, 8.5. Bukayo Saka's goal was just out of this world. Very, very good. When can we start calling this guy world class? Because, he keeps proving it time and time and time again. I didn't think he had a great first half. His corners were very, very poor. Hitting the first man every single time. But he comes up with the goods in the big moments. So for me, Bukayo Saka gets a 7. Gabriel Martinelli, very instrumental in the first goal. I thought his energy was very good today and it kind of dragged Arsenal through a little bit as well. And I think he gets a 7 and all. Eddie Nketiah scored his goal. But apart from that, what else did he do? Somebody tell me. Didn't do anything. I didn't really see this guy do very much at all. So for me, Eddie Nketiah gets a 6. Is there anyone else I'm missing? I can't be missing anybody else, surely. I think that's it. The substitutions, the players that came on. Can you really rate them? Can you really rate them? We didn't really do much in that second half at all. We didn't. And the complacency needs to stop. We cannot continue on being complacent all the time. And look, listen, guys, I'm going to get into a few of your comments and I'm going to wrap it up. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new. By the way, all the people that tuned in on the watch along, I was so annoyed. My internet went down and therefore it ended the watch along. Halfway through it, I was like, typical this. But I will get that sorted out, and I will make sure that next watch along we will be here the entire game. We are average. Big up. White slows the play down so much. I mean, I thought it was all very slow and lethargic today. Game week 1 and looking tired, shown squad depth and looked average, and average is average. We still need to improve. Arsenal can't think games done at halftime. Forest coach would have had halftime rant to gear Forest players up. So you got to be ready. Hard to say where Arsenal will be. Should know by November. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can't judge it too much off of one game. And it's easier to judge off of 10 games, but the complacency, we've seen that last season, and that cost us. We cannot keep doing that. Havertz, the walking dead, looks like he wants to pick the ball up, run home, and hide the ball under the stairs. Scotty always looks like that, according to Chelsea fans. Party is 7. Interesting. Complacency and managers' choices. We all said Trossard, but the manager chose to go with Nketiah and Saka. Party at right back. Ben Shy at centre back. Out of position. Other players not good enough. Let's have it right. He wasn't bad, Brandon. He was quite elusive. Who are we talking about here, bro? Let me know. That was a crap performance. 2 very good goals, but the overall team performance was awful. Probably make a better shelf stacker. I wish Odegaard could be more selfish and shoot more. That's the one thing you could say about all these Arsenal players. We try too hard to play pretty patterns in and around the box, when sometimes you should just shoot. Do you know what I mean? Just you get yourself in a good position, shoot. And that's exactly what Saka did today. And that's what made the difference in the end. If he didn't do that, that game finishes 1-1. Do you know what I mean? And then we are really, really starting to put a magnifying glass over this performance. And at the end of the day, I'm going to call it out. I will call things out when I need to call things out. I'm not one of these, everything's all fine and roses and great. Bullshit. Yeah. Complacency nearly cost us again today. Complacency needs to stop. And hopefully Arteta will be getting into these players. But listen, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. That's my match reaction for game week 1. Make sure you are liking, subscribing, and of course hitting that notification bell. And there will be more content coming out this week. We will be discussing, of course, more transfers because the transfer window is still currently open. We'll have the match preview for the Fulham game as well. A watch along will be done for that. And also, yeah, just keep tuning in, guys. I've got plenty more to come. So, and I appreciate that. But Arsenal 2, Nottingham Forest 1, and complacency needs to stop.